everyone, and welcome to episode 3, Bronc Breakdown. Springtime. Spring started about a week ago, so we'll get into some spring sports today. So today we'll be featuring baseball, the Rider baseball team. So just to get in, if you've been following, they're 15-8, 2-1 in conference. That was after their 3-game series at home versus Quinnipiac. They won the first 2, lost recently in the third game, 12-2. But they're looking good. They've gotten off to a pretty strong start. And they're one of the top teams in the MAC, as we're well aware. And so Dante, what have you seen? How good is this team?
Yeah. Looking into the conference outlook, obviously the preseason coaching polls had us at third, and behind Canisius and Fairfield. Having both of those teams being above us, we actually do play both of them at home later on the season. So I think having those games later on, towards the end of the season, obviously, those are our 2 top power ranking teams that we will be facing off against. So it'd be good to definitely get a win or 2 under our belt in those games to potentially move us up in the standings if possible.
No, yeah, I agree with playing both of those teams, 3-game series at home here in Lawrenceville. I think that's big for this team, and especially, you can play a lot of baseball games in a season. The MLB has a 162-game season, but college season is kind of short.
Yeah.
And so to have all their games versus the top 2 teams in the conference at home, I think that is big. They were, like Dante said, they were ranked 3rd in the coaches poll, but currently in the RPI rankings on D1Baseball.com, they're the top ranked team in the MAC at 111th in the country. Fairfield and Canisius are close behind in 127th and 129th. Thomas, Ryder, past couple seasons, they've had success. What does that look like, and how maybe that will motivate them this season?
So I think of it as they came off a heartbreaking loss against Canisius last year in the MAC championship, even though they lost to them in the semifinals too, but then they had the elimination game and then won maybe Fairfield. Now it feels like they're going to try to get their title back after winning it in 2021. Yeah. So I think they're going to come up strong against Canisius, against Fairfield, and against Niagara.
So yeah, 2 championship appearances in the past 2 seasons, looking for a 3rd. And I think they're well positioned to get that title back, to get the MAC championship back in Lawrenceville, where it belongs. Another thing to note, they're kind of getting into the midst of the conference season, but they do have a non-conference 2-game series in May 9th and 10th. It's a big one at Duke. Duke is currently 15-9 and 4-5 in the ACC. They're not a top 25 team in the country, but they're still a really good team.
Power 5.
They're still a Power 5 conference team, and I think if even just getting one of those 2 games, that'll be a big confidence boost, especially coming late in the season.
Just like them coming up from being Oklahoma in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, they went 2-1 earlier a month or so ago, and so yeah, Ryder's looking good. They're a top 3 team in the conference, arguably the best. So just to shoot this out to everyone, who are the players that have been helping Ryder be so successful, and who's leading the charge for them this year?
So the one star that comes to mind first is outfielder Brendan O'Donnell. He is actually on a hot streak recently, hitting 7 home runs the past 8 games, and he leads the team in RBIs with 26, and he has the highest OPS of the entire team, which is .992, which is basically really close to 1. Yeah. And he basically has same runs and hits at 23, and he's going to be making a big, strong start in the season.
So Brendan O'Donnell is looking like a star this year. Who else, Xavier? Have you seen anyone else who's kind of helping Brendan lead the charge and helping the Bronx be so successful?
Yeah, there's another player that also contributes as well with Brandon, and the other player is the infielder, Jack Winsett. He's right now he's having with the most hits right now, which is 26 this season. So that's enough contributions to this team. I feel like.
Yeah, and those are two players that have been having awesome offensive seasons so far, and hopefully looking to continue it. Kind of at the beginning of the season, there were kind of four players outlined as the leaders. Jack was actually not on the list, so he's kind of like, kind of a little bit of a surprise. But Brendan, along with Brian Scatini, Luke Lesh, and Frank Doling, who's a pitcher. Brian and Luke are a catcher and a first baseman. They made the preseason All MAC team, and to have four guys on the team, that just shows the depth of Ryder and how well they can do. Like, they have a bunch of good players, and when you have a bunch of good players in baseball, that can lead to success.
I think everyone on that team definitely all do have the same goal, and that's to get back to championship. So I think that's a collective mindset that has been created in the team. So hopefully that's something we can see in the future.
Oh, yeah, I agree, Dante. We have a good ball club here in Lawrenceville, here at Rider University, and so with some big goals, some conference championship goals in the coming months. That's episode 3 for you. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for breaking it down with us. For Dante, Thomas, and Xavier, I'm Patrick. Thank you. See you next time for episode 4.